go. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Carlos Lopez. I'm the director of Latino Tax Fest. We're here today with Nadia Rodriguez. Nadia will participate as a speaker at this year's fest, and we would like to introduce her to you so you can get to know her ahead of time. Nadia is a Dallas-based tax advisor, educator, and founder of Tax Training Academy and the Nadia CPA Inner Circle, of which I am a member. Licensed as a CPA since 2009, she helps individuals, closely held businesses, and tax professionals approach tax with more clarity and strategy. Welcome, Nadia.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I'm looking forward to Latino Tax Fest, joining you guys again. It's going to be my fifth year in a row.
Hey, all right. So, Nadia, can you tell us something about yourself that people don't know, but you would like them to know?
Oh, you know what? Something very interesting. Not too long ago, I jumped ship and went solo from the corporate world, the nice corporate benefits, to now really walking the talk that I tell my clients. I help entrepreneurs every day, and now I'm a full-time entrepreneur myself. So yes, it's
Congratulations.
thank you. And Carlos, when I shared this with you, you said, welcome to now going from working 8 hours a day to 14 hours a day. And you
Yes.
weren't lying. You were
Well,
not lying, but it's a great world to be in because you have the flexibility to create something that we're hoping to pass this down to the generation next, right? And teaching others how this entrepreneurship trip is amazing. We just have to be educated and navigate it with people that we can surround ourselves that are also entrepreneurs.
yes, it's a whole different world. And actually, even though you work a lot more hours, you actually have a freedom that you didn't have before. And
Of
that's what I
course.
enjoy the most about it.
Yes, there are long days, but there are days like yesterday. My kids are now on summer vacation. And I was sitting down with them watching a show. And then I said, okay, now I have to go back to work. And so it was very flexible. I really love it because we are building something and you have every moving piece that you're able to control.
Yes, that's wonderful. Nadia, can you give us an overview about what you'll be speaking about at the fest?
Yes, I am going to talk about depreciation. So, my whole session, we're going to talk about depreciation, which is not an unknown tax concept, right? We're very used to depreciation, but we have to be very careful on what needs to get depreciated, what method to use. And now, with the whole big, beautiful bill that passed, now we have 100% bonus depreciation available to us again. But let's start thinking outside of the box. Should we even be taking bonus? Should we instead do just regular makers, a salary depreciation? But we're going to break it down from the very bottom foundation of what is depreciation. Let's wrap our head around that concept. And I know sometimes depreciation can be a little bit intimidated because we enter the numbers into the software, and the software is the one that does the math for us on how much to depreciate year one, year two. But we need to understand how that depreciation schedule works. And not only that, but the higher impact for the client. What happens when we sell that asset? What happens when we stop using the vehicle more than 50% for business? And then the dreaded word, depreciation, recapture. And so we're gonna take a little bit of the fear of that because we're gonna understand what depreciation recapture really is and how can we better educate our clients.
Yes, I remember when I started in this business, people would come into my office with a return that someone else prepared. And I'd say, oh, well, you've had this rental for 6 years now, and I don't see any depreciation on it. And they would tell me, oh, my previous tax preparer said it was optional. And I go,
No.
oh, no. And that's how I
Yes.
got started with the IRS, believe it or not, presenting at their forums. They wanted me to present about depreciation in Spanish
Oh,
because it
yeah,
was
we're gonna
so
take it
much
up a
confusion.
notch on the
Yeah,
difficult level there. Yes.
yeah, not just something complex, but then, like you said, up a notch in Spanish. And I felt like I had to learn Spanish all over again.
Oh, I know. And I'm preparing for this session at the Latino Tax Fest because I'm going to do it in English and then all over again, but in Spanish. So
Okay.
I am making sure I prepare well in advance to be able to
Mhm.
deliver this message and the importance because you're right. Depreciation is allowed or allowable. So if we didn't take depreciation, guess what? The IRS doesn't care. When we sell that
Mhm.
asset, we're going to have to take depreciation recapture regardless if we took depreciation on that asset or not. So yes, not optional at all. And how can we
Mhm.
spot those mistakes? And what do we do to correct them?
Yes. How much fun that is. So
Yes.
Nadia, why do you think attendees will not miss your presentation? What makes it so that your presentation is something they have to attend?
Oh, for sure. When we're talking about the allowable or either allowed depreciation, or we have no choice. So I think once let's get together and talk about depreciation. Let's get through this fear together because I think it does intimidate us. There's so many methods first. We have to pick the recovery method, the recovery life of an asset. How can we easily start spotting those in categories of asset types? And then the most important thing, right? If we don't take depreciation, because maybe we are taking the de minimis safe harbor election, which is an amazing tool for us that we can go ahead instead of putting assets on the depreciation schedule, let's go ahead and expense them just as a regular expense, but we do need to make an election with a tax return. So talking about elections, I think a lot of tax pros get confused with bonus depreciation because bonus, if we notice with our softwares, it's automatically taking bonus depreciation the day or the year that we say no, we know we don't want to take bonus depreciation because maybe our income is not even high enough. It doesn't really make sense to take such a large sum of depreciation expense in 1 year. We need to elect out of bonus depreciation. You can't just turn off depreciation. You have to attach a statement letting the IRS know you're electing out of depreciation. So, yes, the world of depreciation has a lot of intricacies that we need to make sure we're familiar with the rules. We're familiar with when do we elect something, when do we elect out of. And then the most important thing is tax planning around it. Because we have that choice of either electing out of bonus or either taking bonus, or do we do Section 179 or do we do makers? And that with the session, we are going to put our brains together and we're going to talk about the different types of tax planning strategies when it comes to depreciation.
Wow, that is so true. And we're only talking federal. If you have a state return like California, first of all, they don't conform to the federal rules. And so you're going to have two different bases, two different rules. And then it really gets fun.
Oh yeah. And so that's one of the things that, first let's look at federal. And then when you think you finally understand it, then the state comes through to challenge you,
Yeah.
right? So
Oh,
yes, we need to look at those state returns, even if we're not in the state like Texas, we don't have any state income tax, but I have clients that are
yes.
in California, that are in
Mhm.
Illinois, and I still have to become familiar with their
Yes,
depreciation rules in those states.
that's right. Wonderful. It's a great business.
Oh, it is. It's going to keep us, we are never bored. We're always keeping up with the tax law that keeps changing. And it's an amazing profession because not everybody is brave enough to go into this profession. And so there is a shortage of tax professionals, which creates a great opportunities for us in the tax profession to have even more clients, but start having that ownership of providing more tax planning around those clients, tax advisory around those small business clients. And depreciation is one way that we can start offering those advisory services.
So true. And don't forget, there's a thin line between genius and insanity.
Yes.
Well, Nadia, thank you so much for visiting with us today. And we will see you and all of your downline at the fest this year. Please call us at 866-936-2587 or visit our Latino Tax Fest page to see the agenda and reserve your spot. Visit Nadia. She has a discount for our Fest if you want to get an additional discount. And be sure and be there. Don't miss it. Thank
Yes,
you.
hope to see everybody there.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Bye, Nadia.